Welcome, Jack, to Metallarium Pages. It's a great pleasure to talk with you about 6 Feet Under, this new Killing for Revenge, and obviously more things related on your career and metal war in general. So we
Sure.
start by asking, so how was the band been during the last 4 years? Because Nightmares of the Decomposed was released 4 years ago, and now we have this new album, Killing for Revenge.
Yeah, we last played live in December of 2019, and then the pandemic hit. So we were just done with playing, and we haven't played since. So we had plenty of time to write and record. Yeah, basically nothing but writing and demoing and talking back and forth and dreaming of touring.
Okay, okay. Well, one detail about this Killing for Revenge is that you try. Well, how was the composition process of this Killing for Revenge?
Yeah, I think from the last album, Nightmares, to this one, it was just all the tools that I had to write and record. Nightmares was very simple and just using drum loops, and I don't think I even had a multi-track recorder. So now with Killing for Revenge, I have multi-track, I have a drum program, I have endless riffs, and I always have concepts for lyrics if I need them. So that's the difference. It's night and day as far as the ease of writing now. I'm in the 2000s now.
No, okay, yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, this Killing for Revenge is the second work where you have been doing with Chris Barnes. So tell me, how does it feel to work with him on 6 Feet Under with with the second record? And do you think that the original sound from early years of obviously for your previous band, is back with you behind you in the compositions because you and Chris helped to create the sound that kind of course is it now?
Yeah, I think I'm using the same influences now writing as I did back in the Cannibal Corpse days, just like old Dark Angel and Creator and Destruction and Malevolent Creation, all the bands that are inspired me back then. They're still doing stuff and I'm still influenced by them. So I'm writing whatever comes out, and I think it does kind of sound like old Cannibal.
Okay, okay. Oh, something curious about this new album, Killing from Revenge, is that you work with Vincent Locked to create the cover art where you are involved for this, where you were both in the past. So, what was it like work with Vincent Locked again for this new album cover? Maybe this cover belongs to some time in the past when everyone was in the Cannibal Corpse. Who knows?
No, it's a new cover. We had an artist that was gonna do a cover for us, and Chris reached out to Vince, and he said, "Sure, he'll do it." So it's just like Cannibal does. We just send him some song titles and concepts, and he sends us sketches. And what we ended up with was a scene from the song "Accomplice to Evil Deeds," which is a shed and where people go to be killed. So very easy. Called him up and he was like, "Of course, no problem."
Okay. Well, talking a little more about this new album, obviously, and we are relating this aspect with the new forms to hearing music. Well, as you can see now, the world's living with a playlist, with these singles. Well, we are in a retro movement to promote the music with singles. No, the albums not like the 60s, well, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. Now we prefer
Mhm.
to hear the new people prefer to hear the music with us by singles. If we relate with this question for you, which song or songs for this new album are capture whole essence that this Killing for Revenge has?
Oh, what exemplifies the album? Um, well, I'm getting good feedback on the song "When the Moon Goes Down in Blood" because we wanted to write something like Old Cannibal, like Butchered at Birth era. So that was influenced by that era. Another one is probably Neanderthal, which is not really true death metal. It's more kind of stoner rock, Black Sabbath influence, but I like that one, and that's also getting some good feedback. So it's hard to pick one song to exemplify the whole album, but Spoils of War could be another one. It's the last song on the album. It's basically about the gore of war.
Hmm. Okay. Well, since the beginning, or when all people know about Chris Barnes and lyrics in Cannibal Corpse, at that time they hear about the killing, death, this kind of aspect. But now over the years, he grew up. He grew up with more social, economics, politics, and this, especially in the lyrics of 6 Feet Under. And so I tried to read obviously the cover art with the lyrics and the title for Killing for Revenge. And for you, what is the main thing that is Killing for Revenge? What the main subject of this Killing for Revenge in general? Because usually now Chris Barnes talk about more social politics and economic stuff into the lyrics.
Yeah, there's so many inspirations to draw from as far as lyrics and song titles. There's back in the day, it was like old horror movies, and since the advent of internet, and there's cable television channels that only show murder shows. So all the concepts are there, and I think Chris has a little more freedom to write whatever he feels in 6 Feet Under. So it's gone from like horror to sometimes religion to yeah, like socio-political and yeah, and I wrote a lot of lyrics on this album, so I think it goes back to true crime and elimination of the human race violently.
Okay. Okay, well, talking about now from the previous album, Nightmares of the Decompose was an album that received strong criticisms worldwide, and many
Yeah.
people were dissatisfied with this with that album. And we know that Chris was active on social net media, making some comments about that album, etc., etc. So, for you, from your perspective, what do you think were the factors for that album to have been rejected by fans as one of the well as you are one of the composers of that album?
Yeah. I think the production was a little thin, and I think being locked up for, a while, maybe we're trapped in our own thoughts and wondering what people want to hear. And like I said before, with how I was writing the music, it was pretty rough. Like some of the songs don't really end properly, and I could go back and write it like 100 times better now. So once somebody jumped on it, all the trolls jumped on it on the internet. So I don't blame them. So there's some bad stuff on there.
Okay, okay. Well, talking about now, especially for the promotion for this new album, I saw in many pictures, especially for the pictures for this new album, that the in the promotional photo from this new album, you and Chris are the only ones that appear on the photo, and then Jeff Kjogel, then Marco and Ray does not appear in the photo. And so, why these kind of things happens to promote this album, and no, why are not all members promoting in the photo?
Yeah, it's a promo photo that Metal Blade put together, and me and Chris aren't even together in the same spot. It's just grafted together because we're in different cities on like four corners of America. So, and we haven't played since 2019. We haven't even been together, so we don't have any group pictures. So, for the album, there's just no photos of us. But for promo, we needed something, so they just grafted together a photo.
Hmm. Okay, okay.
Photoshop.
Okay, okay. Well, talking about now the promo again from the promotion for this new album. Well, what kind of plans do you have to promote this new album, Killing for the Revenge? Perhaps you have you will embark in some tours, gigs, perhaps videos upcoming for this promote this much better this new album, or who knows? What kind of
Yeah.
promotion do you have for this Killing for Revenge?
So far, it's just online with the label and YouTube and the three single releases. We're working on tour ideas right now, but nothing is confirmed. So I think once the album comes out, and people hear it across the world, maybe we'll get more tours coming in.
Okay.
Hopefully.
Okay. Now, finger crossed. Okay. Well, talking about now other kind of stuff. As you can remember now, well, how is your position about now in general of the string metal world? Because you have to create well, the sound of the death metal in the 90s with Cannibal Corpse, and now you are, well, you pass with the side, now with 6 Feet Under, and now you can see a lot of bands are trying to copy and paste what you did with Cannibal Corpse, especially. So, what's your point of view about now the new bands, the a lot of releases in the metal world because now it's very different from the 80s and 90s, and now we have I don't know we have more than 50 releases per day per week.
Yeah.
Well, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So, what's your point of view on this? Is too saturated or is good? Is healthy for the scene
No,
in
I
general?
like it. I think there's enough fans to absorb it. There's enough bandwidth online to get it all out on Bandcamp, YouTube. There's enough labels, big ones, small ones. The early 90s or mid 90s, it seemed like there was too many bands, but not really, because fans can absorb a lot of music. I'm kind of a music archive person. Like I'll archive music from the 50s, 60s, all the way to now. So I think it's fans, it's short for fanatic. So they are fanatical about everything. So I don't think it's ever an overload. And I think there's a lot of good stuff coming out now.
Hmm. Okay. So talking about now for other kind of questions, at what point of your well, you are as I mentioned it, you were a guitarist from well no band Cannibal Corpse. Then you participate in an album from India's side, more than not more than two, more than one album, and now you are participating with one other well known band that is Six Feet Under is.
Hmm?
So at what point of you in your career as a guitarist do you feel it's time to seek other musical horizons? Because as I said you were in well-known bands like Cannibal Corpse, DSide, and now with 650 Under.
Mhm. I'm open to playing any style of music. Like I like older country, I like stoner rock, blues. The opportunity hasn't presented itself, but I'm open to do that. I listen to everything music style wise, but just concentrate on 6 feet under.
Okay, okay. And and so for this reason, in which point of your career do you think this the time to leave a band like you leave Cannibal Corpse and then you leave DSide and now with 6 Feet Under? So at what time of your career it said, hey, there's time to step back and I need to form another kind of music?
Oh, I don't know. We'll probably be like Lemmy and just stay in this band until we're dead. No, not probably not. But this band feels like a family to me. Like when we're together, we're like brothers. And I've known Chris forever. So, and the other three guys are very cool. We're all very friendly, and I don't see any problems in the future really. So we'll just keep going, see what happens.
Okay. Okay, then talking about now the aspects in the world that you well, as you can see now, the metal world is well more accepted thanks to the social medias. Because as you can see, there are trends around the world trying to understand well, trying to joke about the black metal, about especially for the black metal. The black metal is for the trends is very amusing for a lot of people. So for
Mhm.
this so what's your point about now about the metal is has more accepted in the world and not compared like the 80s or 90s when you use a shirt. I remember when I use a Cannibal Corpse shirt here in my city, and many people say that I'm crazy, that I'm I don't know. You know about this aspect, but now it's very different. You can walk on the streets and wear a shirt with a viscerals or guts there, and the people understand that you are metalhead. That's normally now. So, but now it was very different. Now it's very different. So, what's your point of view about now this the metal is well more accepted in the world, and I think with this situation, the metal doesn't have a way to fight again to something.
Yeah, there's not really much censorship going on anymore, and
Mhm.
I think the saturation of the music, like you said, social media, and I was just watching TV and a commercial had "I Want to Rock" by Twisted Sister, and like you wouldn't hear that in 1983. So it's just like the saturation and the overall acceptance of metal. Like it's in movies, it's on TV. I don't know. Yeah, I think the internet helps. Back in the day, it was so isolated. If you went into a big city with a cannibal shirt or whatever, it was like, what is that? I'm scared, I'm afraid, and I don't know what to do about it, but censor it.
Yeah,
Now it's accepted.
yeah. Well, as you mentioned, you're an old guy about to hear music, especially from the country, 50s, 60s, this kind of stuff. I know you're
Mm,
still creating an album, but as I mentioned it, now the new generation prefers to hear the music, as the retro movement to hear the music just by singles. So for you, what motivates you to create an album in a world that consumes the music by digital one, and
mm,
also hearing the music just by singles, not any more than albums. Just you, well, I'm from the 80s, so I prefer to hear the music by album. But since 2010, the people just to hear the music by singles.
mm. I guess there's so many labels, they do it differently. Like we're doing three singles to lead up to the album release, and some bands just do a single and that's it for a while. Um, I don't know. Everybody does it differently. I like a whole album at once. Like if I put on this album, I listen to the whole thing. Pretty much any album, I do that if it's any genre of music. So I don't know. It's up to the label and the band, I guess, like financially and studio wise, and touring is a lot more expensive now. So I think people are doing whatever they can to promote themselves and stay alive.
Hmm. Okay, and one of the last questions before we finish this interview. So for you, you entered in the band well, in 2017 with 6 Feet Under. You with the band you are playing Torment, then Nightmare of the Compose, and now Killing for Revenge. The three last albums from the band. But for you, in which album that the band has is the one? Do you think the 6 Feet Under has a personal sound? And which album create this kind of sound for 6 Feet Under for you? Because you hear since the Haunted and now.
Yeah, Haunted is classic. That's probably their most famous album. And I try to write music like that and try to write like Alan West, but it just sounds like obituary. It doesn't sound good. So they've had so many lineups and so many different writers that uh, there are different eras and people can latch onto an era that they like. I love Haunted. I don't think you can ever take those songs out of the set list when we play live. Warpath was the continuation of that, and the Rob Arnold stuff is awesome. And now we're in a new era where it's kind of like Amputator, Zodiac, mix it up, and hopefully get a good production and people like it.
Okay, okay. Well, Jack, the sad times arrived at this interview. I hope you
Okay.
enjoy this interview like me. Well, I'm a huge fan from your music since the since the late 80s and beginnings of 90s, and now hearing this new album from 6 Feet Under. Also, congratulations on this new one. And perhaps do you want to add something to your Latin American fans, obviously, and Metallica followers?
Hey, thanks for the interview, man. It was great. I want to thank our fans for decades and decades of support. And we definitely want to get down to South America as soon as possible. So stay tuned and stay metal.